Welcome to game 2 of the World Championship. Welcome to game 2! After last game has been an undisputed victory for WCS. Kushantri ended second place. I at least got my one measly point. Yeah, but as I said, 1 point is not nothing in such a group. The times that I've been fought for the win, 1 point more or less would have sometimes made a difference. So I'm actually content with that, the way the game went. Nothing more was possible. And it was Dante's Inferno after all. He was in last spot, he had to resign. Things are a bit different already in this game. Like risk-wise, maybe. I cannot repeat the approach of playing it too safe, maybe, as I tried in the last game. Maybe I need to take some risks. Maybe Dantes needs to take some risks. He definitely wants a good result. And also the order is reversed, so we are now in the better spots of a 4-player game. So let's see how this turns out, or whether these guys can make it work again. My start is nice. I can take Hammurabi here. It's what he did in his last game. First civil action, Hammurabi for 1. Happy about that. I will still get a wonder here. Probably one of those. These will very likely be gone. And then we can look at wonders and leaders, if whether it's worth it to take one of those. So Dantes takes Richland and Library. I also prefer the Library over the Roman Roads. And Avcinic takes Roman Roads, and Ashoka is the leader that's available here. He could also take Richland, then there's no real other leader already. He could hope for maybe an early Hippocrates, and then ask the question, is it better to pay 2 civil actions, or if he even drops, or just take the Ashoka that's available here. A bit of an anti-synergy maybe, because this needs a lot of civil actions. You want to get some colors here in hand, which needs some civil actions. Then if you have that and that, both produce extra rocks or even food, and then it can be maybe a bit harder to avoid corruption, but it's not all of the effects that I just said are also somewhat minor, so that's definitely playable. Kushantri takes Richland and Colossus over the Acropolis. There is no Suez Canal in the deck. No Columbus, no real colony payoff. There's Cook in H2 maybe. That's actually already nice if you have 2 colonies, just to play a strong H1 leader and at some point elect the 3 culture per turn leader without any extra conditions. That's not that bad. And helps you maybe even win 1 more colony. But that's like a minor thing here, the colony aspect. But the Colossus still offers the important card draw. I think it's very important, and in early game, especially in last position, this extra strength is just a solid quality to have. So that is that. That leaves me with the question, do I take this Acropolis, or do I wait for an H1 wonder? And if we look at this, I would say it's not the best H1 wonder lineup, or the HA. There are good wonders, but in regard of skipping an HA wonder, because like Forbidden City is an awesome first wonder, and then it really hurts if it crumbles. And all the other ones, maybe, yeah, Silk Roads would be pretty fine actually, but costs a lot of civil actions. Sometimes you can't avoid corruption if you try that, but that would be fine. But the lineup is not perfect. All the other wonders is not also, this also crumbles and hurts a lot, and these two wonders are better as a second wonder. Image Castle and Taj Mahal. So I think, yeah, Acropolis is not regarded very highly in 4-player games, but I think it offers still something nice. Just one strength, one culture per turn, and the discount on the governments. Yeah, it gives you extra options. Some Chinese players, but that's maybe more in 2 players. They will aggressively in 2 players a bit different because you can build more buildings. But let's say building 3 buildings is realistic. Like 2 alchemies, a religion or something like that's very common. Then you have a discount of 3 already. Then you develop an H1 government, and in the Chinese community they also went aggressively for the H2 government, even then, very often at least, switching from the theocracy to a republic. Very often I saw that. So just to mention it, that this even is also becomes a valid option sometimes. I elect Hammurabi, build the mine, standard stuff here, and take Acropolis and an urban growth. Aligns quite nicely here. Dantes takes Hippocrates for 2 over Caesar and Sun Tzu. Yeah, Sun Tzu also has his upsides, but as we mentioned, it's not the best colonization game. It's there are also not the best synergistic leaders with him. There is, yeah, no Shishka, there is a Barbarossa, but you also never know whether you get him or not. And then the value of Sun Tzu is sometimes pretty good, sometimes it's hard to measure maybe. This value is very easy to measure. You get some yellow cubes, which do something. Quite a lot actually. So I would probably, I don't know if I would do the same, but I definitely agree with this. And maybe if I look at this closer, I would also do the same. The only thing he pays is not being able to populate right now. I mean, he pays a selection. It's not only about this population. The thing is, having him available or not doesn't make the biggest difference, because I only have drawn 1 card, and the chance that I can see it and then reveal the religion which punishes this is very low. It happens. And Wawczynic goes for Ashoka, populates, builds a mine, takes the frugality, has his first color in hand, and this is maybe yeah, a bit unfortunate to have him on his first turn not even produce a rock, but there was no real possibility. There's not really a card like this early drama. If this was a decent card, any card that is yeah, I mean, okay, the drama is not bad in this game. It's actually playable. So you can maybe consider to take this drama instead of building this, and then not populate. It's already a lot of cost selection-wise, yeah. And then that's what I meant with the anti-synergistic thing. He doesn't really gain anything from that except having the drama already in hand. Will also produce a rock, but has lost some civil actions, but he also needs a lot of civil actions here. That's what I meant with small anti-synergy. But it's maybe a minor thing. Next turn he will have 2 or 3 colors already. Unless there's yeah, it actually continues, right? Unless someone reveals 2 rocks and then he has to build this, or wants to build this actually. I mean, okay, you can also build a philosophy, take color, build 2 stages or something, yeah, but yeah, you get what I mean. We have Krishantri taking Homer here, or Homer, rather, and standard stuff. What was the rest? Increase population, build a mine, take home more, and elect. Yeah. Then we see the alchemy for 3 again. It's a bit of an easier decision even with Hammurabi. And as I said last time, I think an early alchemy is just one of the best things that can happen in a 4-player game. And yeah, with Hammurabi, it's not even such a cost here. I still get to take this EG. And here I decide to build one of those. And as we see, there's an extra bonus on top maybe. Gutenberg is already in the row. And I cannot imagine any one of them willing to take Gutenberg here for, yeah, 2 civil actions here for 3. They have other things to do. He would need to pay 3. And that means I will get Gutenberg with an alchemy already in hand. Okay, that's a little bit of a counter argument because then I have less activations available. But on the other hand, I have an Acropolis, which gives me presumably some extra activations possibly. So I'm pretty happy to see this. And I draw a raid. Development of trade routes are revealed. Dantes builds a lab, populates, takes cultural heritage, it's a nice card. Vavchinec populates, builds a lab, takes swordsman, takes drama, has 3 colors now. That aligned quite nicely for him. And next turn, he has enough rocks to build the Rome roads. Does take the drama here over theocracy. As I said, I mean, the theocracy is like, yeah, some theocracy discussion maybe. I think I have played quite some 4-player games recently with in the Australian Open also, and this last stage of this, and maybe something else also. And I've played a lot of theocracy, and I think it's a very solid wonder, especially. That's why it pops out, or the argument regarding the Australian Open. In the Australian Open, you need to finish one of the 2, yeah, first or second spot of the game, proceed to the next stage. So there also the goal of the game is not to win it, but to land, yeah, one of the first 2 spots. And then the theocracy becomes even better, I think, because it's so rock solid. It gives you such a yeah, solid position just where you don't simply die to possible strength pushes most of the time with this happy face, the extra strength, the extra MA. And I think it increases the chance to, yeah, not lose the game more maybe than win the game. But even with certain setups, I think it's also a good attempt of winning the game. If you have a pyramid and or the the Forbidden City, get your hands on Code of Laws, all of a sudden this is playable until H3 at the very least, and then you hope to get in a tree government in a lot of cases anyway. If they drop timely and you are able to put down one of those, then position is super good. So yeah, I love this theocracy recently. But he takes the drama, and yeah, I mentioned there's Marlene Dietrich. I've recently rewatched one of my own videos, and that was the game of the International Championship where, yeah, where I mentioned that no one values drama in 4-player games, and it's a bit illegal sometimes. People take like branded circuses over dramas when there's Marlene Dietrich in the game, and that setup just won me the game. Just building 1-2 dramas, having some culture income, and then getting Marlene Dietrich and being like unattackable, or even it enabled me to be offensive. So I agree definitely with this here. Even though it's maybe more of a collateral decision here for filling up the colors in his book. And we see another open borders. So I had 2 4-player games in the World Championship with 2 open borders where I've not been part of. Yay! And this time it's okay. The Colossus player offers it. The Colossus Omega player offers it to Dantes. I mean, the games were very parallel. It's not like this decision has any knowledge about the outcome of the other game. Towards the end of the game, it changes, and I think it does play a role also at the end of the game, but here definitely not. And yeah, you don't want to offer it to the Hammurabi player, definitely, and maybe you also just don't want to offer it to the rank 1 player, so it goes to his guy. It's, yeah. You are just happy that you have this. Takes iron for 2 here. Yeah, doesn't take Gutenberg. There's also no reason to take Gutenberg here in the row. I even might have what is the word? Considered it in his position, because I think it's just so good for me now, for this player, to get the Gutenberg with this. Yeah, I mean, there's also Barbarossa, who's probably like an S tier combination, so I wouldn't have been sad. So yeah, would have not made the biggest sense. If he took Gutenberg, I would also say, okay, I take a Barbarossa in hand, and then I just play Hammurabi for all of H1, and then switch to Barbarossa when I need him. Would also be an S tier combination, arguably even better what I do here, but this just feels too good. We would say the Guten Beast in action in this game. Yeah. The one downside you have if you play Gutenberg is that you need to be patient. You delay the science income. If you don't delay it, then he has nothing to do after 2 turns or so. So yeah, that's the downside. But I think it's well worth being patient and having this extra civil action available that discounts you some science, some rocks, and gives you some culture. So super strong if you can continuously use that. And what are the last actions here? I need to get out of corruption, so I finish this one. I need to populate, and is it the theocracy again? Yeah, it is. Yeah. Especially maybe with this extra happy face, I can make more use of Gutenberg. I can even go to 4 then. And it would be funny. I don't think that's what happens, but it is possible then. Another aggression. Don't we love to see it? Dantes reveals development of agriculture, takes irrigation, takes Barbarossa, elects Barbarossa. He has 2 yellow cubes. The third one, yeah, is not relevant that often. And if you have some reason to replace the leader, then you should do it. Builds a warrior with Barbarossa. It doesn't take monarchy. It's still pretty early, but it's not super early. I tend to do this, but yeah, it's not necessary. Maybe taking warfare is also a pretty decent idea, in my opinion. But then I don't actually know if he's so well set up to get out of corruption. Warfare is a pretty good card, which enables the Republic. Yeah, he has some options here, but what he did is this early food income with Barbarossa is a bit synergistic, so definitely reasonable decisions. We see Vavcinic can be happy to have the masonry here available for 1 civil action. It's always a very nice feeling to build the Rome roads with the masonry. And then this card is in general giga strong, I would say. It's maybe even, yeah, S tier is a bit too much. That would like mean you have to take it for 2 or 3. And actually, if I remember back 3 years ago in the World Championship, back then I wasn't that much of a 4-player, and then I had also a World Championship game where there was alchemy next to my masonry. I took the masonry, not the alchemy, and that was definitely something. But yeah, it is super strong. It turns all the 4-stage wonders into 2-stage wonders. And also the 3-stage wonders into 2-stage wonders, which is maybe the best argument. Then building all of this here, it's like, yeah, on the 2-stage wonders into 1-stage wonders. In case you have missed that one. Yeah, the Forbidden City gets easily buildable, and then all those H2 wonders like Ocean Liner and Railroad, for instance, they get easily buildable. Like it changes the fact from you take it and have corruption to you take it and build it, which is a world of a difference in a lot of cases. And then yeah, the rock discount on some urban buildings is also not nothing. Very happy to have that. If you have that, if I have that, I am pretty certain Vavciniac was also very happy to have that. We see iron upgrades, a warrior being built, fighting band revealed, and now it's interesting. Okay, he doesn't have a civil action to take a leader. He doesn't go for this alchemy gamble with Da Vinci. One is already gone, the other is already here. And he doesn't assume that Vavciniac will let this through to him. Yeah, understandable. What is still available? Saladin, Nostradamus, Michelangelo. He still has options. It can become a bit awkward with Homer. If the leaders just are super late then, and you all of a sudden have to waste an entire turn to take a leader for 2 or maybe even 3 civil actions and replace him, or you lose this happy face, which is super powerful. So yeah, maybe if he had a medieval army, I actually like Genghis Khan also somewhat. The Colossus, if he has a medieval army, then he plays Genghis Khan for 3 rock income. He can send 2 warriors for crucial colonies, which is even better than with the fighting band. Yeah, like this he waits. Yes, there are, as we have seen, other good options, and he just has to hope that they don't drop too late. I built a philosophy with Gutenberg. That's something to, yeah, some minor thing. I won't even fucking finish that thought. Wait, I didn't even go for this theocracy yet. Maybe I didn't have a really good reason for it still, and I can hope that free religion is still revealed. Yeah, so I get iron and breakthrough for 1, and whatever I was trying to start saying there, I don't even know. So let's forget about it. Was more or less irrelevant. Development of warfare is revealed. Now this upgrades more food, builds a stage of the library, has a legion tactic available, takes bread and circus. That is understandable in this combination here. He has a lot of food, but also he needs happy faces. Then even, yeah, Kovator is also in the game. That is super understandable here. But here, even if Kovator wasn't in the game, I would say that's a decent bread and circus game. Then Vavciniac takes alchemy, develops it, upgrades 2 times. Reveals fighting band, has no way to solve corruption, but only loses 1 rock and 1 food. And is here out of consumption still, so he has 10 food lying around. Yeah, there's no danger of him losing that to rats yet, but it might arise soon. And then his turns are a bit predetermined. He has to populate a bunch to get out of yeah, the danger of losing this all, unless he has information about rats, and to get out of corruption, just. So, no leader here. Homer for 1 more round. 2+2 signs. Would be a spot where I would consider revolution, maybe even into corruption, but that's also fine, I guess. What's he doing? What he's doing here? Yeah. If you're on 2+2 science and you don't have a reasonable plan of how to get science income soon, maybe really sick roads actually a possible plan. Then the revolution is always an extremely good play, which sometimes is even worth to take corruption for. I hate that too. I never do it, but sometimes you have to, or it's the right decision. Development of settlement is revealed. I get my hands on the code of laws, which I'm very happy here. Yeah, it's pretty important if you play a theocracy or planet. I mean, I have that in my hand. I don't even have to play it. Yeah, you can also have those cards as options sometimes. Just when the need arises, you play it. If not, then not. And then here's even the other combination that I talked about and that I actually also hoped for is the Forbidden City, which is just now, I think I love this position. I have a lot of happy faces, or here this Forbidden City effect, which lets me ignore unhappy faces. Here is one happy face. I have civil actions. I even have the iron in hand. I have Gutenberg building alchemies. This is a position. Yeah, this is a good position. Fighting band. Did I have that? Did I copy? I copied it. Yeah, not for getting from the weakest spot. Now Chinich is the weakest and the deck might flip soon, so I'm willing to pay 2 military actions for that. Dantes reveals development of civil life. So sadly no religion. Library has been finished, knights have been taken, Richland. Yeah. Yeah, I can consider warfare, I think, but it's also, I mean, this Richland's also going to do something at some point. And warfare is also maybe more of an option. He already has his third MA, cheatedly so from the open borders. In case I haven't cried about the open borders enough. I mean, all of you know these arguments, yeah? But warfare costs 5 science, 2 civil actions at least to get going, and it gives you a red cube. And this says, take a red cube for free. Game design. Rock solid. I forgot about 1 strength or something, which is maybe, yeah, not the crucial part about the warfare at all. Saladin for Chinech, also very rock solid position. He already has this masonry, has alchemy there. He gets the Saladin here. Yeah, development of civil life definitely was one of the better events that could happen for him. Helped him to get out of corruption, get stuff done here. Gets urban growth. And yeah, it's also just a very good position. Is the strongest now. I am the weakest now. But first event is a scientific breakthrough. If I'm not mistaken, I haven't really paid attention too much, but if I'm not mistaken, I didn't draw an event that I could have seeded, which is very good for the commentary. I could miss that. It's not that good for my game. So that was one of the events that weren't that bad for me. There could have been some bad events, but the scientific breakthrough is awesome. So Kushantri gets his leader replacement in time. And yeah, goes for Nostradamus. Does he still use the extra rock? Probably, right? No, he doesn't even. He doesn't even. Probably has no plan how to solve this if the age ends, and then he doesn't want to commit to it. I get knights for 1 here. And I go for it. I have the medieval army after all. I can just build 2 knights and take a breakthrough and take reserves. And yeah, I have to admit, this turn was a bit sloppy. It was a bit rushed. This turn felt very good, like this. I even didn't activate Gutenberg. I thought, okay, going to 12 strength here. Let's be in this position for once, where you're not the weakest and eat. I had 0 information about events, right? And I think some of them are willing to put strength events in here. Let's for once not be in the position to, yeah, on the short end of the hitting stick. But there's a problem with this turn, and I have to admit that I haven't really realized it during the turn. Do you see it? Yes. I have a problem here if 2 of those cubes are gone, which I can't really solve next turn, other than dispending something. It's a world championship game after all, and I mean, I think that is the mistake probably that everyone does in his first iteration, when you play with someone who has actually read the book and says in its first game ever, I mean, you play with someone who has actually read the rules and then reminds you, yeah, by the way, we all lose 2 yellow cubes. Yeah, like, what? I have problems. I have the same problem as in my first game. Isn't it like wholesome? But I don't know. Maybe there will happen some miracle here. There are some events that can help me get out of this. So there can be new deposits, which lets me build this wonder. There can be. Is there? Oh yeah, food income which lets me populate with the reserves. And yeah, foray and border conflict gives me rocks. And I think I have almost, yeah, colonies. I can just bid for a colony if that is getting revealed, then I can just bid an army. And uncertain borders fixes it. So there are a lot of events that actually fix the problem. The problem is I can't even seed, so I have to pray that they want to seed. At least he will want to seed because he's in a very good position to seed and he gets culture to seed. So they are not that motivated, maybe. Yeah, but I will be totally honest. Those are all arguments that I just perceived after the fact. I I mean, I am an intuitive player, so I can now construct it in a way where I said I felt the right move, possibly. Because I think if you consider all of these arguments, then it's actually not that unlikely that I can solve the problem. And if I solve the problem, then that was the best turn, probably. Okay, Dantes doesn't seed, which is sad. Goes for failings. Ovcinic doesn't seed and goes for Swordsman and St. Pete's here for 3 civil actions. And takes the reserves. Can even finish it if he wants to. And takes strength. And Christian seeds. And he reveals the uncertain borders. As planned. All of the talk that I've talked about mistakes or anything. The force is with me. The force is with me here. I was so happy when I saw that. I was like, oh no, what do I even disband? Do I disband a warrior, philosophy? Everything felt awful. And here we have the solution to the problem, as planned. Yeah, Chantry goes for the very early Conmon here. It's a super great. First card in the H2 deck is the Conmon. He gets it. I'm also a bit happy that he gets it and maybe not someone who is set up to just play it. That's not a random thing here from rank 1 in the world. That he has 13 signs going into H2 and is able to just play the common if it drops. So he gets that. But it's also super good for him. He can just go for the revolution. Possibly. It's a good option. So, after yeah, we have used the force to solve our problems, or like predetermined that there were no problems anyway. We are in a good spot here. That is great. I can use Gutenberg once more, and then there's something on the horizon. And I don't know if I'm going to take him now already. No, not now, but no one else will want to play Darwin, and I have an insane Darwin setup in this game. So I still do yeah, efficient things. I activate him once more, I upgrade Iron, take Swordsman in hand. Barbarians have been revealed. And yeah, I mean, we can also think back. I make it out to sound like it was a noob mistake. It was a bit of a noob mistake, maybe, but also the alternative would have been that I would have been weakest. If I only built one knight, I would have been the weakest. And I would have already lost the uncertain borders and this barbarians now. Game would be over, probably. And in the other iteration, where I don't solve the problem, I have to disband the philosophy. I think it's also playable. So, yeah, looking at that then, I think it was the right call. Even although I didn't see this problem, honestly. Code of Laws have been revealed. My brain's empty. Code of Laws have been revealed onto the civilization. Brandon Circus has been imagined into the field, and Iron has been summoned into the hand. Vavchinich goes. He has the play of building the Wonder, but he develops a drama and builds that instead. Plays reserves on rocks, populates, upgrades the warrior. He can now finish the Wonder next turn. Yeah, he goes for Kushantri goes for the revolution. Dispense a warrior even and builds a knight to get out of corruption. Yeah, if he doesn't do that, he might be stuck in a corruption loop. The downside with his play, I mean, this revolution is 1,000,000% correct. The downside or the bad thing, the only bad thing maybe about his position is 0+2. I hate that. That means he is in desperate need of a science card, of a Rev or he somehow has to get a, yeah, this just means it will take 3 turns until he is able to fix his science income. I think there's also no Wonder, right? Yeah, there's no Harvard College. So his position is okay, and this Conmon definitely, or maybe the more I think about it, it's actually a bit questionable to do it even if you are then stuck on 0+2. Because yeah, now he has just no options. In within 3 turns, he can't really develop anything. He is in desperate need of a Wonder. He needs a Wonder to happen for him. Otherwise, he has no turns. And then he needs also access to the scientific method. If he doesn't get that, he will have no turns. Not only for 2 or 3 turns, but then continuously, just no science. Yeah, or you can band-aid it, as I said, with the rev ideas and breakthroughs. But that leaves him vulnerable militarily. Okay, he has knights, but he has not the position to develop yeah, any H2 military texts and react appropriately to a possible military push by someone. So maybe even this revolution is not good, and he has to build alchemies first. Yeah, I mean, the six science revolution is also, yeah, something else than a two science revolution. Maybe even if you look at this, revolution to monarchy is an option, yeah. But maybe just alchemy first and then revolution. I don't know. This is awful. Uh, when I played back in the days with TTA Pulse, I played it together with a friend, right? That was good times. And he would, like, I don't know, he would, I think, rage quit if he saw something like this. He would just stop playing the game. It's just unplayable in his opinion. Then he never, uh, yeah, would do lead his civilization to a spot where it's like this, and he would just say, "Okay, play alone. I quit." Yeah, knowledge of the ancients has been revealed. Okay, this is obviously then something that he knew about, possibly. Might have had the information that changes things a bit because that reduces the time of going to sixth science and the time, yeah, the access to the science income by one turn, which is a huge deal. So that makes the situation a bit different already. I do take Darwin here. It's just, yeah, three culture income, some extra access to civil actions for tax, which I already use here for the Cellbread. One of the first is the first copy, and yeah, they are not that much disputed because he already has this, but paying two civil actions for the first copy is very reasonable. I still have, uh, yeah, the option to upgrade this two times or only one time, and or or not at all, and just play the navigation for some extra strength. I'm strongest again. And also, yeah, I didn't see any, but I repeat that point. It's very rare to happen that there's no colony at all. So even if there's no colony at all, that's just two strength and tech that I've played very efficiently civil action wise, and it's also good for impacts and so on and so on. And also, of course, you can also draw colonies yourself, obviously. Dante's plays patriotism, builds knights with Barbarossa. Barbarossa has worked a ton in this game. And what was the last stuff here? Takes resource for two. Of Genius takes cavalryman for 2 years. The four swordsman setup, which is very prominent. A lot of players go for, yeah, a bunch of swordsmen. But here we can like compare to the last game, yeah. Dante's had four swordsmen. Yeah, maybe it was like then 2 turns later into H2, but he had the four swordsmen and he was like killed off with this setup. So yeah, sometimes you build four swordsmen. It's not even remotely enough to compete with the strength pushes. Yeah, it was not that early in H2, but it was like maybe 2 turns later, where the game was already over then for him. Military protection offered to Dantes in insanely the direction that it is intended to be. So he wanted the 4 strength to defend. This card is often used the other way around. So he could offer 4 strength for Dantes to Dantes and the one culture and yeah, pay 1 culture for that. Wait. Yeah, exactly. Yes. He could produce 1 less culture. Why am I so confused now? Whatever. The 4 strength to his side. And then uh, Why does my brain not work when I'm in this uh, recording? Yeah, I know why I'm confused now. Because somehow my brain thinks that Dantes is offering the pact. No, Kushantri would offer the pact. He would produce an extra culture. And Dantes would produce one culture less, but have yeah, the 4 extra strength. And what that would do is it fulfills the in a crucial aspect of the pact anyway. He would be safe from his strength potential, but it would also enable him to possibly play aggressions on of Vavchinyac, especially here. And yeah, that's the mode this pact is being used, and I hate that. I think it's not intended to be like that. I think it's borderline unfair. I've actually quit playing international and intermezzo because of this, and somehow no one agrees that this is a bullshit interaction. I don't understand. Like, he has the power to say, okay, Dantes, go and kill Vavchinyac off. He could do that now. How is that the fair interaction? How can you account for 4 strength in this time of the game? What is this? This is never intended to be 4 offensive strength. I would put my hands into fire for the statement that this wasn't anticipated to be used like that, and it's the standard use more or less. It has become the standard use more or less, and yeah, I'm not willing to play. I mean, I'm willing to play World Championship and deal with it once in a year or something, or some games, but I'm not willing to compete high level when this shit is going on all the time. And I don't know. Somehow, no one agrees that this is a problem. I don't understand. What do you guys think? Is that not unproblematic when he says now, okay, Dantes, I give you 4 strength, please kill Vavchinyac, and I gain some culture in the meantime, you get some income, we are both happy. Vavchinyac has no control. Like, how do you account for 4 strength in a state like this? Yeah, okay, enough with that. I hate that. And Kushantri didn't offer it like this, happily. I consider it borderline unfair. People don't agree. I don't understand. Please share your opinion with this. Selective breeding has been taken. A temple has been built, and yeah, sadly no scientific method yet. He has now, for example, the food income, or also no breakthroughs which would be super crucial for him. He has now the selective breeding, and he can't really go for it. Or if he does, he will again be stuck on low science, so he has to hope for yeah, the scientific method or breakthroughs, rev ideas. Those wonders were not the wonders that he wanted or needed. Understandable. I mean, the Kremlin is a great wonder, but he can really not build it here. Or it would not solve, or it would even yeah, enhance the problem of the low science, because then he needs a happiness solution like organized religion. Then it's payable, but then yeah, he needs to spend science on that wonder as well, more or less. So yeah, I do see the vast territory. Border conflict has been revealed. I am not the strongest anymore. That's there was yeah, an extra option for me to have solved the issue. We don't see, sadly, which events have been revealed, because I think there were some events that would have solved this. Yeah, yeah. I take architecture, play it, finish the Forbidden City with the architecture, take efficient upgrade for 2. Yeah, I still have a lot of upgrades to do. I'm not willing. I think I am in a giga good spot here, super strong. And I remember thinking, okay, I should not get too greedy here, because this opera and this journalism, they are really smiling at me. I have an architecture. if I get one of those out and survive, I win this game. I was thinking like, mm, everyone is playing the military build-up game here now, and I am running away with culture more or less already. So let's play it a bit conservative and not plan to go for this opera next turn or journalism next turn. Let's play a bit more conservative, so I don't take one of those. And even another option. Good harvest, border conflict, for was there foreign? No, not foreign. Yeah, uncertain borders. I don't remember. What was it? Why doesn't it show? Sad. Where's some options definitely. Dantes takes the Rev idea. It's a very crucial card here. So doesn't need anything. Yeah, maybe the Republic. But doesn't want to go for the Republic. He doesn't have warfare. Doesn't want to gamble for the strategy. And use Barbarossa again. Yes. Yeah, use Barbarossa like a ton in this game. Even the second warrior was one warrior's free, right? Then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 activations. That is value. That is value. The foray is in the next deck. I am part of that. That's very nice. It feels good to be on the stronger side for once. um, I often don't mind being weaker if I get what's the word? Compensation for that. Yeah. But if it's yeah, if you are stronger and you get the payoff for that, that's obviously very good. Avciniac goes for the Republic. Doesn't want to wait for the other conman. Also in a position where it's disputed, and Dantes has way more outs to get it. So he goes for the Republic. It is understandable and I think the right call. But it also bears the risk of being left out on military actions. If he doesn't get access to strategy or early military theory, his position is very vulnerable actually. So it is yeah, he was even on 4 military civil actions. I mean, it was 5 with Saladin. He doesn't go for Bach with the drama. That would be probably very greedy. He still needs to. Yeah, he has some problems as we see here. I don't even know how did this happen. When did this happen and how? Destroys a farm. Border conflict. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that hurts a lot with such a low income as we see. Yeah, you can't be greedy and go for Bach here. I think he just dies. And there is James Watt in the deck, who can, if it happens soon, then he can fix these issues, the income issues. Yeah, it's a vulnerable position. But I think he had to. If he Yeah, I think if he wants to win the game, he has to do this and hope for the strategy. He has good science income, but probably even if he wants to not lose the game, that's the right move. I don't think it's more solid to not take this Republic and wait for the common, right? I don't think so. Yeah, that's a correct move in any case. So, yeah, what did he take? Took the Republic for 2, then Cold for 2. Doesn't get access to this breakthrough. It's a super crucial card. Only his frugality. In the end, Krishantri reveals Raiders. And I'm one of the weakest even. That is sad. So I win a foray, then I lose Raiders. Still a win, yeah? And always funny when these things happen with Nostradamus, and weakest and strongest is asymmetric. Krishantri he goes for the Cybrid, and now he does have this problem, which I mentioned, that he's again at 1+2 signs. Maybe he has knowledge of some other science income here, but I think they are all gone. Scientific breakthrough and also the knowledge of the ancients. There could be a developed territory, but I have this navigation and also some cards in hand here. So yeah, he goes again into this position where my ally would have rage quit, I think. And there's a scientific method in the row. Of course, it's very costly to pay 3 civil actions. Develop it, upgrade it, take breakthrough. Could be an option. Then he has to hope that those riflemen reach him. Well, which they won't. I mean, I do have swordsmen in hand, but I don't have them developed yet. And I take them for 1 civil action with Darwin, and he will take riflemen. 100%. Yeah, and missing out on this rifleman in this time frame is very dangerous, I think. So he couldn't have done this turn. He could have only taken those 2 cards. And a breakthrough, this sounds like corruption. Yeah. Yeah, it kind of ripples through, right? This lack of science. Yeah. Now it's, yeah, it will take some time again until he can do this. If he even gets it. Can also be taken away, possibly. Dark Ages revealed. Yeah, that's maybe also something he had knowledge of, or very, very likely. It actually is a good value for him here. I lose 4, Dantes and Virginia to lose 3. Takes Rifleman. I take Rifleman and go for those also. Go to 18 strength. I can still upgrade a mine. Yeah, like my position was, I even take the cavalryman. I think it's always very nice to have the options for all the H3 tactics. So I do think that's one of the examples where taking an H2 tag over an H1 tag is very valid. It's night and day having these options for H3 tags, and also I even didn't mention it. I have the Hussars here, but I'm not a huge fan of the Hussars. I mean, they don't defend H3 wars, so they can be nice, but they are more often a 2-player tactic. You don't get 90 strength with cavalrymen Hussars. It's like not happening. A draw war can even maybe be an option if someone is super greedy. In 2 or 3 turns. Immigration revealed. Dantes has the most happy faces here. Takes the scientific method and goes for it. Also had, yeah, +3 science income. That's a huge difference. 2 + 2. But it goes to +5 now. Takes Bach. Without access to opera, by the way. The second opera is still in the deck, but it's unclear if he gets it. And if we look at this, there would have been Watt and Teresa still. Teresa will not do a lot here for him, unless he also gets the Ocean Liner, but even then, he already has all his population out. It's kind of insane. And then Bach is just, yeah, either opera or at some point movies, and so it's a solid decision here, I would say. Yeah, the other leaders don't do anything for him, right? Also, as I said, Teresa not really, and Watt also, yes, also already farms and mines built. So Avcinic has problems here, as we see. He built a farm and has already no resources left because of the raiders. That is an impactful raiders here. That is a very impactful raiders here. There's 0 resources whatsoever. And yeah, I remember somewhat. I was kind of hoping that Dantes takes the patriotism and maybe even the wave away, because then I can just press this war on him. Even without upgrading anything, I don't see how he defends. As long as he can't build this cavalryman, he doesn't have 8 science. Oh yeah, okay, after his turn he has 8 science. So I have to be a bit wary of the strategy. If I find the strategy, I will press the war on him. But like this I have to be a bit careful, because it's unlikely, but he can have the classical army, and then with the wave and patriotism he can actually defend wars. The vast territory that I seeded has been revealed, and I'm willing to bid 9. These guys are willing to bid more, 10. That's a pair and 2 cards. I was apparently only willing to bid 1 unit, which I understand, because yeah, I don't have the best rock income. I was kind of slow in upgrading that. There was always something more important, I feel, than upgrading this. And that means Kushantri gets this. So pretty impactful here. I would have loved to take it, but yeah, as I said, I was not willing to build a pair, and I think that's correct. I couldn't even rebuild that. So he gets access to the ocean liner here, which means yeah, not taking the scientific method again, but now it's more understandable. H2 is almost over, and yeah, the ocean liner is super impactful, and the scientific method maybe reaches him anyway. If not, he will have H3 options soon. Something I like to do, even in a position like this, I don't know if it was possible, probably not, is to get this third philosophy out ASAP. Because yeah, +3 and +2 are are a huge difference in the threshold, how many turns it takes to get an important tech out. The strategy does drop. I don't have 8 science though. I could risk maybe the war even against him, but I don't think it's such a good idea. I don't know. If he has the classical army, he wins it. I can't really improve my strength. So I decide I don't need to take a risk like that here in a position that's so good. Politics of strength has been revealed. It's even possible that I seeded that. I have some memory of this. But I'm not certain. I take team sports. Kuwata is in the game. I do need a happy fast solution. And yeah, playing Darwin in a situation like this, especially then with the theocracy, it feels so good to have access to these technologies for one civil action. Just such a nice Darwin game here. Upgrade the iron. I have to make space and develop the selective reading. I don't even take the strategy. I still want the cannons for tactic options. I even got rid of the hussars. I don't think they do anything, honestly. And national pride, civil unrest have been drawn here. We love to see this. Dantes offers a scientific cooperation. Give me some pacts, bro. That's nice. He does go for the Republic here for one civil action, because he does have, and I'm very glad to see that it goes his way and not Havciniac's way. That leaves his position really super vulnerable until he gets access to a military theory. I think he has some problems here, which he can solve admittedly with what? He can't upgrade a coal yet. It still costs 6 to 4, right? He has only 3 rocks, yeah. But yeah, he will be able to solve these income problems with what? But he has the other problem of the military, of the vulnerability, and his position is now very dependent on, does he get military theory or not. If he gets it, I think he is in a solid position. If he doesn't get it, he's not in a good position. let's see how that turns out. It's not that unlikely to get it, although it's a tech that is highly disputed in this game. And even Dantes might think it's worth it to deny it, to cut it, to leave the other player vulnerable. So yeah, so it's more or less 1 in 4. And then there's 2 options for that. Definitely a possibility that he doesn't get one of those. And then his science situation isn't that bad. He might even also go for communism or fundamentalism to consolidate his defensive options. Yeah, and this is a huge boost for Dantes. He now, what means all of a sudden, his position was already the entire time pretty good. He had a lot of value from Barbarossa, and now he is very broadly set up. He has a good science income on top of a very strong pact. That is some illegal combination here. He has a lot of yellow cards, which is always super nice. Then the strategy in hand, a lot of civil actions, and the leader. If we see the opera, he doesn't take, and he might not even get access to it. And then the leader still does 2 culture per turn, and if the movies drops, he has a good option to maybe move one of those to the movies, or one of those even, or just build one with all those yellow cards. Yeah, so pretty good position here. And if we are talking about positions like this, we can maybe wait until after Kushentry's turn, and then we can compare. I've already analyzed Vavcinic and Dante's position here. Vavcinic goes for what? Upgrades food. Next turn he will be able to upgrade coal. He does not have access to more yellow cards, which is sad for him. That's super important in situations like this. Still has to take cannons for 2 here. And copies the phalanx, which indicates that he probably didn't have the classical army. It was also super unlikely. And this is a bit, no, okay, yeah, he lost the politics of strength anyway, so he wouldn't have drawn cards anyway, so that is no cost. I was starting to think, okay, he was even willing to do this in H3 and miss out on draws, but that's not true. He missed out on those draws anyway. Autonomous territory has been revealed, and I'm willing to bid only 8. Dantes is willing to bid 2 knights, and he has 3 cards available here. Goes down to 16 strength, but yeah, it's very likely very worth it. I lost one H1 colonization card, and I was still not willing to build to send a pair. It's a close call, I guess. Maybe a bit too greedy, not to bit more, but close call, tough decisions. Okay, now this is obviously a way to fix the science issues that I actually even overlooked now in the analysis. He gets Maria Teresa and the Ocean Liner, which is 1 science income per turn at least, and can also populate once like normal. And no, he doesn't do it even. No selection left. I see it's one of those. What was it? I don't know, honestly. Economic progress has been revealed. It's good that it's now, I think, and not maybe after he upgrades some things. On the other hand, it enables him to do some extra upgrade, so it's maybe more or less equal. I do have this journalism still available here, and take it. And also am willing to build it. Yeah, I think that's a very close call. It could be that this is too greedy, because we can now, I forgot, evaluate positions. Because I was already on +6, and 6 science income. Yeah, but the value of the journalism is still so immensely. I was on +5, by the way, because the journalism gives 5 science income, 3 culture income. And I was on 5 culture income before. And yeah, the value of this journalism is huge. Of course, it costs some science too, but it gives 2 science and 3 culture income. And I think I also, if I want to win this game, have to take some risk, because just staying on that position that I was in and just defending makes this position too exposed to then be surpassed by someone who is greedy. Especially Dantes has the Bach in hand, and there's here opera and movies. I'm definitely not taking both of them away. Um, so, yeah. On the other hand, if we look at Kushantri, I think he has more or less only one game plan available, and that is war, and he has also a pretty good setup for war. I mean, he could get an early multimedia, build one multimedia with everything he has. Then he needs access to an engineering for that to make sense, or I don't know, all the yellow cards in the world to build a reasonable amount of multimedia. The very more likely plan is that he starts to be aggressive here with this setup. He has a lot of guys available, some extra military resources here anyway. And yeah, it can be that it's also mandatory to just put everything into defense in order to not be the target. And then again, you just need to defend better than the other guys to not be the target. And yeah, if Avcinic doesn't get access to a military theory, he will be very exposed. And at this point of the game, it's also already pretty relevant, maybe, what happens in the other game. Because we know that Vavcinic is winning the other game, very likely, I think already here, and maybe in some terms it already happened even. And then, yeah, I don't know what I want to think about this, but it's just a part of a tournament that means he's also the more likely target, because we don't want to let him run away with the points in the standings. I personally don't like this so much. But it is obviously the rational. I mean that the tournament meta and tournament standings inform decisions in one game. There's some aspect of this I don't like, but I won't say that it's unfair or something. I also do it. It's irrational to not do it. I would like for the setup to be that this is not possible. But that has no easy solution. The solution here would be, or let's talk about the solution that the committee came up with, actually, which is pretty cool. It is for the next tournament, has a different structure, and there are no fixed groups that you play in, but a bigger pool of players that you play games against, where only your results counts, more or less. So you don't have standings where you look, okay, I have to win against that guy or that guy. You just need to maximize for your own standings. It has the downside that there's no longer this epic setup where you play an entire group against the recurring opponents, which has maybe a bit better storylines, so to say. It's a bit better to create content for that, because you say, oh, it's super close in a group, and we have to do everything to stop Avcinic and so on. Yeah, but it removes those meta game options. Another option would be to make the player names anonymous for such games, so that you see which opponents you play against, but you don't see which seats they play on. That would actually also solve the problem, because you then wouldn't know where Vavcinic is, and you couldn't target him specifically. And yeah, I actually like this idea, but of course it won't happen. It's a very complicated setup, probably technically, to still implement in a game like this, and also people don't like it because it also has the downside that you, uh, yeah, it has some issues. Like you can start to stalk people online and look how when they log in, and then uh, deduce who just made a turn in the game and so on and so on. Of course, it's not like a foolproof solution, but in theory, if you could, yeah, take away the information of who has what seat, then you would take away that metagame option. Like this, it is, yeah, the strictly rational choice to target the guy who is ahead in the standings. And I won't call it unfair. I don't like it, but it is what it is. And yeah, maybe with all that in mind, I am also allowed maybe to be a bit greedy. And I also think overall this is not too greedy. It's probably, yeah, correct to build this journalism. It's also with an urban growth, what it was, right? I think. Yeah, with an urban growth and the architecture. So it didn't cost a lot of rocks. Just the science is an issue, but it will pay itself. And yeah, of course, the population. I don't have the best access to population here. I decide to still take this engineering genius in hand. The late H2 engineering genius is sometimes wasted more or less, but maybe I don't have the best other options anyway. I could take this opera instead, or this democracy also already. So for 11 science. And yeah, sometimes you don't even find the opportunity to use it, this engineering genius two, since you more or less want to build the wonder in the last turn and then it's already gone. And then you have a space flight where you need to build 2 stages until it even does something. And fast food chains is okay, but then the crucial argument for the EG was the Manhattan Project, because it's super good for the Manhattan Project. It's already only 14 rocks, and then with the EG, you only need 10 rocks in hand, and you have this extra strength potential easily available. I mean, more or less easily available. So that's the reason why I take this EG specifically for that. Or even this railroad still. It's also still an option if it stays in a row until then. Can also help me build that. I draw some impacts, agriculture and science. Dantes reveals the Cold War, which is very nice to see. I don't think I seeded that, did I? I don't know. You will. This is one of those commentaries where you will have to check that if you want to. I think I was very happy to see it and was surprised by it. He gets access to this engineering, which is a very crucial card for him if he wants to go for movies. And also, yeah, we see masonry here, but this more or less takes all yeah, civil options away from him, because if he has no access to engineering and he only has +6 rocks, not the most civil actions, then he can't realistically build like two multimedias, 3 movies here. It's not happening. So yeah, he takes that. He builds another scientific method, populates. He has a lot of civil actions here now with the extra civil action from the autonomous territory. Takes cannon, increased population, and takes movies. So that is now, yeah, great position. And did I afterward talk about who's in the best spot? I think I didn't. Yeah, I talked about Kushantri's options. I talked about Virginia's vulnerable position, which gets, I think, solved more or less with the military theory axis. Dantes has, yeah, had a solid game overall already, and it's creeped up to a very strong position actually, especially during those last turns. And I would still say my position is the best. I have this lead. I have also the lead in income even. I have a rock solid science income. Yeah, rocks are a bit of an issue. I have to be wary of that, not to yeah, be in a situation where I can't especially defend militarily. So I cannot be too greedy and build more journalisms and then find myself in a situation where I can't compete with a military race. I think that's the biggest danger I see for this situation here, for this position. But other than that, I think that is a game-winning position, possibly. Let's see how this turns out. Yeah, we love to see, by the way, this Marlene Dietrich drop, because I think that is actually one of the things that also can help him a lot in his position. Because she does, okay, first of all, the emigration, that's sad for him. He took that risk maybe to see into this. He saw maybe some upside because, yeah, losing this population is a bit sad since his natural choice is to go for Dietrich anyway and fix his happiness issues. And she gives this extra phalanx tactic. So, yeah, military theory would have been better than this, but the next best thing is, I think, that Marlene Dietrich drops here, even on 2 for him, very early. And it is this mighty setup with the drama. Marlene Dietrich, he has now 1 drama that solves all of his happiness issues with this wonder here together. It's kind of funny. So then 1, 2, 3, 4 happiness, happy faces. So where does it go? Krishnatri. He doesn't even have civil buildings available. Developed territory, I've seeded that at some point, and I'm willing to bid rifleman for this. This also almost maybe questionable if it's worth this rifleman, because as I said, I do have this rocket income issue more or less, and it gives me some science, which is not yeah, I don't desperately need that at least. And it gives me some yellow cubes, which are nice, but I also maybe don't desperately need them, but they are very good with this 4+4 income. Now I have access to, otherwise I could only populate once and I would have to build a team spot. So yeah, I do agree that it's worth, but it's maybe close, and it would have been way nicer to win it with a knight. And those 2 rocks difference are already not irrelevant. And yeah, Krishnatri takes rockets. He didn't have artillery available. Gets it here. Builds rockets and reveals the mobile artillery. And the cat is out of the bag. This will be a military all-in. And now everyone else has just to defend that and hope to be not the guy who's being hit. I do take this railroad still, and I do get access to a very cheap democracy. Now we see the Acropolis working. It's 11 signs instead of 17. Okay, it would be 13, and I also have the science pact. A bit of a cheated discount here, but it's nice to have that available. Maybe it's not that optimal of an option. Yeah, since it doesn't offer military actions, and I also am now in dire need of military theory. Maybe not as direly as Vavchinec, but yeah, I also would love this military theory, and I still think it's worth it because happiness is not an issue. That is the one aspect of a theocracy that's always a bit yeah, clunky, that it's kind of hard to get off it if you need this happy face, but here I don't. So I can just reveal the democracy. It still offers a lot of civil actions, which are, yeah, pretty valuable here. And then I finish the railroads. I still draw 3 cards. It gives me some strength. It gives me some rock income. Um, if oil, if there will be an early oil drop here, I have an extremely good rocking come then, and I think I completely agree with this choice. I'm not a huge fan of building H2 wonders pretty late, but I think this is an exception. This enables this pays more or less for itself rock-wise. It gives some strength, and it enables this option of yeah, catapulting the rocking come like crazy. And I have Darwin, I have better access to the oil if it drops civil action wise, and I have all the signs that I need, and I will have the rocks that I need to upgrade ones. And I think I agree with this decision of going for this railroad here. And I can take reserves even. Very glad to see this. These cards are super crucial in game states like this where it's all about your military potential, and then the reserves, yeah, increase that military potential. I draw impacts, no tactic yet though. Um, we haven't really drawn a tactic yet. In H2, only these Hussars, which are really not that much better than this medieval army. And it's super crucial for me to draw one, I think. I mean, the mobile artillery is already on the table, so can go for that and copy it. But for that, we need military actions. That's the most crucial thing. So yeah, it would be better to draw an H3 tactic. Yeah, with the setup of also having access to all the tags that I need to fulfill them. And that would be a game changer here. Like this, impact and the aggression has been drawn, so I am still hoping to get one of those. Freedom of movement has been reviewed. Strategy by Dantes goes for the movies. Builds one. Ah no, here, he moves a lab to a movies, so that's very efficient. He's still on +7 science here. There's been some very cool turns here with the setup just building this scientific method, and then with the proper plan probably to move it to movies then. And here he goes for Gandhi for 3, and that is actually, I think, a very good decision. He's also in a vulnerable spot actually here, and that makes it very undesirable to attack him, even to aggress him. Aggressions are possible here already by him. There was also no way for me, I think, to defend it, or to go into a spot where I can realistically defend it. And Gandhi makes it yeah, way less desirable to attack him with aggressions. And he still gets the access to an urban growth here. Maybe can at some point even be greedy now and build more than this one movie. With this engineering and urban growth, it gets very efficient to build movies here. So he's still some culture behind, but his potential now, especially with the Gandhi protection, is actually there. And we see refugees, that's a bit sad. And that is, yeah, it's a bit of a ripple effect from building this rifleman, and that's why I also discussed it a bit. If it's worth it, I really would have loved it for that to be a knight. It was probably worth it, but it was not free, as we see. Yeah, position is a little more vulnerable than it would have been without sending this rifleman away. And now I even lost the population, which does hurt. Avcinic gets not the civil, the military theory, he gets the civil service, so more civil actions here. Might have considered to take this communism as a safety measure, but wasn't willing to do that. He gets the civil service, it's, yeah, of course, also still very valuable. He gets this rev idea. He also has democracy in hand. Would be a little awkward maybe to go for this communism still. But maybe it's necessary. I don't know. He still hopes for the military theory. He builds cavalryman and is on 21 strength here, but yeah, he would need 2 defense cards to defend. I would need 23. Yeah, I would need something like, yeah, I would also need 2 H3 defense cards, but I've drawn also more. Let me see, yeah. H1, the H2 card makes no difference. Even if this was a defense card, I would still need 2 of those. He has drawn it off, he is not the target anyway. Yeah, but it's still, apart from any metagame reasoning, here's the likeliest target where an aggression goes through. So that is probably the target, and it is. And yeah, this obviously is extremely impactful. Vavciniac loses all of his resources. I mean, he still has a wave of nationalism and patriotism, and another patriotism. So, like, he does have some some ways to still build military. He still has access maybe to this military theory, which still consolidates his position into a playable position. But yeah, losing this aggression is insanely impactful. And we also see the first copy of military theory goes to Krishantri, who doesn't hesitate 1 second and takes it away. And takes it for himself. And yeah, he is here in a very threatening spot. It's everyone else is now ducking away and praying. So please don't hit me. Please hit someone else. That's what I did, at least. And here we see, yeah, I briefly mentioned it as an option for him. But I, in the end, decide that this is not the game where I want to be on 3 military actions, and I go for the communism. I think that's the most short-lived democracy that I've ever seen or played myself. So I went for the democracy, and next time I say, let's go for the communism instead. It's like some, I think Kushatri called it later, some post-World War II turmoil going on there in my civilization. And yeah, I also take Churchill for this purpose of yeah, making it very undesirable to attack me. Elect him and upgrade. Why do I have one? That was the freedom of movement. Alchemy to rifleman, yes. And upgrade those two. And this enables a lot of tactic options. Most prominently the modern army, which I really pray to draw, but there can also be the what is it, shock troops, and also even all the other tactic options are still good, even with the setup. I would take any of those tactics. Some just mean that I need to build 4 cannons, but it's not like it's very reasonable to build 4 cannons still. And yeah, I still have these 3 draws here. And I pray, and Vlada heard my prayers. I even got 2 options. And the best option, possibly with the modern army. Iconoclasm has been revealed, which is sad to see for Kushantri, because he loses Maria Teresa here. Some science, maybe, crucially. Dantes takes satellites, just a good tech, some strength. Maybe there's, yeah, it's good for impacts, for many impacts. Builds another movie, takes air forces, takes reserves, modern infantry. So he is also in a spot, I mean, he is in a somewhat vulnerable spot actually. So if he doesn't pay attention and start upgrading his military, so if he chooses to build maybe even one more movie, then I mean, he does have another Grove even, but then at some point he will fall that much behind that even the yeah, Gandhi deterrence with the military actions, which has become a lot less relevant here with his military theory, is not enough. So he does have to be wary of being too greedy also here. Vavciniac, increase population. He does not get the military theory. Ah, doch, he got it. No. What am I looking at? He did get it. I thought he didn't. Okay. He did get the military theory, he didn't hesitate either. And yeah, maybe it's enough to consolidate his position into being playable. With Swordsman, copies medieval army, but he still has his draws. If he had a classical army, I think he would just be in a very good position. But he, yeah, had only 2 MA or H2, so it's also not that likely to happen. And yeah, takes all the rocks he can get. There's the wave, still patriotism reserves. He does lack science. He didn't have enough science and civil actions to go, take this air forces here. It's the second copy, I think. And Kishantri continues to target Vavciniac here. And yeah, I mean, here basically, it's, I think, still just extremely likely that it goes through. I think he would still need like 3 defense cards. But, I mean, I think, yeah, maybe I had some more draws. But I couldn't complain if it was targeted at me. I do think this is already somewhat of a tournament decision, although I don't want actually to say that it is. Maybe it's not. So I don't. I think it might be a consideration, but maybe it's even not. And his consideration is purely in the game, within the game. That it's still the best war target, and he can kill off his signs. He can keep him away from possible air forces, and even if he steals some signs from me, that doesn't happen. So, yeah, I don't want to say that I would or phrase it even, yeah, just to repeat the point that I think they are even viable, the tournament standing considerations, if they are part of this. But you can also argue, I think, here that it's not even the decisive argument that he targets him. The aggression is more or less guaranteed, and it actually weakens his position considerably to enable a possible war in the next turn. So, yeah, okay, he wouldn't have access to air forces anyway, but still something might happen. I don't know. It's complicated. It's always hard to see in those live commentary, just commentary reviews, every possible aspects. So, there's still some more upgrading going on. He has exactly enough science for the air forces. He has exactly 14 rocks with the patriotism, so he can build 2 air forces and go to 76 strength, which is actually not that much. And H3 has apparently been very short. There's been a lot of civil actions here, which have maybe shortened it by 1 round. We see 2 cards are being taken here. He took Urban Growth and Air Forces. Maybe you should consider not taking this urban growth because it's only, or if he has 1 more round available and he has 1 more round to build up here, and maybe he can declare even 2 wars then. And like this, it is a bit unclear if the age ends, but it's kind of likely with all those civil actions available. And here it's a very crucial moment in the game, I think. Yeah, okay, now, first of all, this means that I will not be the target of the war. Probably, very likely. Yeah, very likely. At least if it's only this 1 turn, then I don't see how I am the target of the war. So the first actions is always, and there's a national pride here, I think I see that, always to communicate that by building this and showing the tactic. So you don't want to hide that information in such a situation, obviously. Then I also wanted or needed maybe to still build this, or at least develop this team sports, because I have 0 happy faces, and the possible impact of happiness Yeah, could be very, very bad if I don't even build one of those. But here, the last 5 civil actions, those civil actions were always my premise. And then the rest was like, oh my god, I have so many options and so many questions. Um, so one iteration was to take this fast food chains as a win condition enabler, maybe. So if we see that Dantes has creeped up actually quite a lot here, this movie's push. So taking one of those wonders might be important if I want to consolidate my winning chances. And then again, it costs me here not building this for impacts. Impacts start happening already. Impact of happiness is super likely to happen. And it costs me. Yeah, in the end, I decide to not do it. Let's see what it costs me. It costs me being more efficient with my actions also. And also this military build-up is a bit more of... It's not that much for me, although I did like the idea of even being in a position where I'm super safe, like super guaranteed not the target of the war. Although I think showing this information is already reason enough to not target me, but I wanted to be in this position where I wanted it to be very clear, in control of that more or less. And also, it's a bit of a hate draft against these two players, because that's just, also still a card that lets them play a bit more greedily. So if he has access to this military build-up, he can make a far more greedy turn than if he doesn't. And then in some instances, if he's maybe, I don't know, even an option is to not even take it for him and then take a wonder and then he gets it. And all of a sudden, maybe then I am the target of the war after all, because he still thinks he can go for first position if he wins the war high enough. I don't know. That doesn't change being able to go to 2 armies. I think I can do it anyway. Yeah, but still. They have military built up. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a bit questionable, and I played a bit too safe. It's more of a hate draft, this military build up. This was more of a. It feels so bad to have these zero happy workers here. But one argument was also that I think there are many cases where I get one of those two wonders. So maybe Dantes takes fast food chains, and maybe he takes the United Nations away. But I don't think so. He can probably even not build it. Maybe it doesn't cost him anything to take it away as a hate draft. But I think it's more likely that until then the Manhattan Project drops and he just takes that as a defensive option. And then, yeah, okay, then there's maybe the case he's always declaring the war, but maybe there's an edge case. I don't know, maybe there's some cases where I don't get the wonder. Then it would be very bad, but I think in the end I just thought I would get one of those, and this is actually a better wonder for me because I have this impact of science in hand, and I have the play available then to build journalism. Go to 8 sites income and build this wonder for 16 culture, plus then 15 for impact of science, which makes it pretty good. And yeah, ultimately I went for this line. Now it's, of course, I actually also draw a war still. That was maybe even a side consideration. If the age doesn't end, which maybe there's some incentive to not end it by these guys, I'm not entirely certain. It's maybe not enough, and they do want that it ends. But then I all of a sudden also have war options. Impact of population has been revealed. That's 10, 14, 10, and 16. Dantis does go for tanks here and upgrades some knights to tanks. And now it's interesting to see, he also takes pro spots. Yeah, maybe a bit of a draft here, I don't know. Or, yeah, I don't know. These pro spots. He had only 3 selections remaining. Maybe it's still relevant for himself somehow. Maybe it indicates a bit of impact of competition, impact of happiness, impact of architecture or something. Yeah. But yeah, he wasn't, yeah, he was very, very conservative also here. He put everything he could into military to deter a possible war against him and didn't take a wonder. So now there's 4 cards left. Virginia offers a tourism to me, and I gotta be honest, I wasn't willing to calculate all the possibilities. I think it might be reasonable to accept it. But the thing is, it gives 6 culture to him. I have 3 wonders, and this triggers 2 times. And if the game is over, and this just looks like it, then I get 2 culture once. And he gets 6 culture. There are some other considerations, like how it affects impacts. It doesn't improve my impact of culture against anyone, but there might be some cases where it improves his impact of culture. And if I consider him out of contention, which I more or less do, at least against me, then it might be good for me that he wins impact of culture against Dantis. Who, yeah, if he gets the right impacts, we see this difference. I will get access to a good wonder still, and he might then not. But still, if he has the right impacts, then he is winning this game. So, all those considerations, I didn't start calculating. I decided a bit by gut feeling that it feels just wrong to give him 6 culture and take only 2. Let's see if I come to regret this. Yeah, he also is in this situation where he needs to do everything he can to deter the war against him, and does take fundamentalism is more of a, yeah, make the game end thing. Yeah, these 2 cards, and then this wonder he can actually build still. And now, who does Kshatriy declare the war on? I think if he had it, he would declare it on him. But I hoped that he would declare it on him. I thought it's super unlikely that he declared it on me with this information here. I can even still go for Air Force, I think. Yeah, so that's not happening, I thought. And then we see an aggression. He didn't have a war. Yeah, that happens. Sometimes you just don't draw it. He calculated it, and with the amount of draws he had 87% of drawing one. And then I actually did yeah, a bit of a communication mistake there, which I apologize again for. It wasn't maybe a big thing, but something that you should look out for, because yeah, when you did this calculation, I will proceed and then tell what happened. He takes the wonder here, because it makes more sense to communicate that in this spot. I didn't have a proper impact to play, and my only available play was to play this armed intervention. I knew that it is super unlikely, so that was what was going on from my perspective. I knew that it was super unlikely for him to defend this. To not defend this. This is also the slip up that I think started a bit of a not, yeah, it's a controversy is too much, but should look out to not do what I did there. But it's all been forgiven, because yeah, he shared this calculation of drawing a war. It's a hypergeometric distribution. You can use a calculator on the internet and then put the numbers in, and it was 87% to draw 1 war in I think 12 draws or something. And then I think he had 11 draws, and I also just calculated it without looking, obviously, at my own cards. At this, I just put in the numbers of how likely is it to draw a defense card out of 11 draws. That's what I calculated. And then this table is a pretty pleasant table, actually. There's a lot of a bit trash talk and a bit of bantery going on, which is super fun for such high stakes games. Everyone's like having a good time here. And I then said, yeah, okay, but how unlikely is it that you can defend this? And I said 17%. And what I meant is it's something like 83% that he has at least one defense card. So the likelihood of my aggression going through is 17%. And then I actually realized it myself at some point. This can be taken as sharing information about the cards that I've seen. And Vavchanik actually said after the game that what he wrote, because I also had this twist where I said, okay, it's 17% likely that you can defend it, which is not what I meant, but I'm an airhead sometimes, and I confused the two sides there. I meant it's 17% that my aggression goes through. And then he was like, yeah, okay, but you kind of just said I have a lot of defense cards in my hand, and that's actually totally not what I wanted to communicate. It's I think they believed me after the game, and all was fine. But something to look out for, to not share those information, obviously, which was never my intention, and which I actually also didn't do. Just to rephrase my view here. And here I have this play available for going for United Nations, building the journalism, playing this impact of science. It makes it against Dante's 21 culture wonder, so it would have been more or less the same like the fast food chains. And I have the impact of tech in hand, but I have no proper last turns, so all I can do is like I don't know, do something that looks like it does something. And I think, yeah, this is, especially after this impact of strength has been revealed, which has apparently been played by Krishantri. This is a position where I think I'm somewhat confident that I'm winning this game, but there's some combinations of impacts which are enough for him. So it's a gap of 106 to 136. It's 30 culture. He has played 3 impacts himself. And I've played a neutral one, impact of agriculture, I think. He made it neutral, was a bit better for me, but he made it neutral. And then there is one impact now played by Vavciniac, and then possibly still something happening with Krishantri. So that's only 4 impacts that I don't know. And I've checked all of them, and in some configurations I'm not winning, and in most configurations I'm winning. So let's see how this goes. There's an impact of progress revealed that is that I have sidelined from the discussion of this. It's now 4 impacts, and that was already +6 for Dantes. This was one of his impacts also, so it's now 24. Yeah, 24 is a number that can easily happen. We see drama, religion, patriotism, some more cavalrymen. And it's actually, between those two, it's pretty close. So it's not clear who wins this between these two. So I think it is by now, yeah, more or less evident that it's between us for the win and between them for the third place. So Krishantri goes for another aggression against Vavcinic. Yeah, again, very understandable here. We see the fast food chains being finished. And now, impact of agriculture. I know that. Still 24 difference. I had information about this. We see impact of balance, which is only +2 for him. 3 impacts left. And he more or less already needs the nuts of those impacts. There is impact of culture. It's one of the good ones for him. Probably seeded by Vavcinic, very understandably so. And here we see it would have made a difference for me if I enabled him to win this impact of culture against Dantes. That would have, yeah, gained 5 culture from me versus him. So if I had been very precise and had been willing to start calculating a lot, then I should have accepted it. But it's also, yeah, maybe irrelevant. There's also only still 2 impacts remaining, and he still needs 12 culture from these 2. There's an impact of happiness, which is 12 culture. That was the other nut impact. And now he only needs a slightly good one. But there are many, many neutral ones. There are even some impacts that still win me the game. And we see the impact of architecture, which means that is even 19 to 8. So yet I think the literal nuts impacts they're in there. And yeah, it is like it is what it is. Dantes wins after the first game was yeah, Dantes Inferno. Now it is Dantes Peak. He redeemed himself. He won the game. I ended up second. Yeah, I might ask myself if I was a bit too conservative, not really enough. I think I wasn't. I think I was also with very reasonable chances of winning the game here. And actually, Vavcinic wins against Krishantri. I kind of didn't look here in this countdown now, but even with 20 culture difference, those impacts also were very good for him and very bad for Krishantri. Not drawing the war was obviously super bad. If he had drawn it, I think we can see that he can only realistically probably consolidate the third position even. Yeah, if this had been a war, he can choose one of these guys who is last. Maybe even not Dantes. I don't know. Yeah, he has a completely different turns towards the end, obviously. So, yeah, maybe it's possible to also end second somehow if he chooses to war me or Dantes and then produce enough to leave that behind. But I don't know. I'm not willing to calculate all this. My gut feeling says he would be just third place. It wasn't big enough of a war with 76 culture, and yeah, he wouldn't even, I think, win it against me, or super slightly only. So even if he wins it with like 35 culture against Dantes, yeah, okay. I mean, that's 70 culture already. Yeah. If he had the war, I'm curious who would he have attacked, which also opens some options for me to win the game. But more likely, I think he would have attacked Vavcinic. But I'm not certain. I don't want to just assume that. Okay, that was game 2, which actually, yeah, leaves an interesting table for after the 2 player games. We can look at that, at the standings here. No, that's not the standings. That's something entirely. What standings were this? Ah, the Royal League last season. Oh yeah, there was something with the Royal League. Oh yeah. Okay, these are the standings, and we see Ovchinec is ahead with 7 culture, yeah, points after 2 games. Dantes has now 6 points after 2 games. I have 4 points, and Krishantri 3. And maybe crucially, it is all in the range of a 2-player game between each of everyone here. That means if we went into the last 2-player games, now everyone would have it in their own hands, maybe except this here, although I think winning a 2-player game also makes it very unlikely to lose the tiebreaker. So that would be would require a closer look. But long speech and short, yeah. It's still all very open here. It's still in the open, and it's still an exciting group. And I think that's it for today. Hope to see you. Hope you enjoy the coverage, and hope I will find time and motivation to share also the other games. And yeah, hope to see you there. Bye bye.